beautiful thing, Arran. Really good. It's just, you just make it look so effortless. It's just so easy and sweet. This is Arran Ahmun. We are very happy and lucky to be here in the Welsh Millennium Centre and an opportunity to talk to you because you're a gem. You're one of Cardiff's sort of, I wouldn't say hidden secret, but you know, there should be a statue somewhere. It's good to have you here, Arran, and we're going to talk to you a bit about your history, where you're coming from. I mean, you were the sought-after drummer for a lot of people. I mean, those of us that know you, if we've got you, excuse me, gushing, if we've got Arran playing with us, we know we're safe, and we know we know it's going to sound really good. When did you know you were a drummer then?
I always loved music, and it was just a natural progression. It's like I was listening to Buddy Rich and all these amazing drummers, and I just had to go home and listen to them, and obviously the enthusiasm just rubbed off on me, and I was just kind of drawn to it. I had no choice. It was either going to be sports or music.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Sportsman, were you?
Yeah, I used to play all sports: football, rugby.
Yeah.
You name it.
And what about your musical background at that time then, when you were growing up?
My first experience of music locally was the Steel Pan Band.
Oh wow!
A local group, and it was kind of a couple of Jamaicans, and they used to have all these big pans. They used to play in the community centre, and this drummer, Brian Hardy, he was the drummer with them, and to play like rhythms like stuff like that, and kind of calypso. And I used to watch in the local pub at the paddle steamer. And I guess that was my first live experience of music,
Have you got memories of other music going on at that time? There's other stuff. Was it bubbling?
There was a jazz club called the Quebec in Butte Road, and Victor Parker, he's quite a famous Doc's guitarist, and he must have been about, I don't know, in his 50s when I was about 12, wow. 13, yeah. And I used to go outside the pub. Obviously, I was too young to go in there, but I used to listen to all the jazz, local jazzers like playing, So that was another good experience for me.
There was an area full of, there's lots of, because obviously I was never around with them. I mean, was it Tiger Bay or Butetown then? What was it?
Tiger Bay, yeah.
I mean, we hear about the legacy of just the music and the sort of mix of things.
Yeah,
it was like that.
Yeah.
It's great, isn't it, to have that to draw on?
Oh yeah, brilliant. Yeah, I mean, it's your roots, And
how much do you think that's influenced your playing through your life?
I wouldn't say influenced my playing, but it influenced my my open-mindedness to music. Listening to all these different styles and cultures, type of thing. I guess that's what I was drawn to.
Because you're incredibly versatile and adaptable. I mean, I've always thought you could probably accompany an avalanche and give it some rhythm and make it sound really nice.
Yeah.
if an avalanche has got you in it.
Yeah. The versatility thing was kind of a thing of survival. It wasn't really something initially I wanted to play what I wanted to play. Obviously, most musos do. You want to play what you like, but I quickly learned that to work, the more versatile you were, the more work you'd get. So I found myself spreading myself really thinly.
But that's an interesting point, isn't it? Because there's a difference between working and playing. I mean, we've got this unfortunate verb when we make music, because we play and everybody says, well, you're playing, it doesn't matter. But you're working, so you end up having to do maybe something you don't necessarily like. But you've got to do it with passion and
exactly. But at the same time, as you go down that avenue, it kind of opens your mind up, to things you wouldn't normally listen to or enjoy, because you understand the science behind it, and it enlightens you, and it definitely improves your abilities as well. it all started when I was 16. I played for a local band called Messiah. Who was in it? There was Victor, Maynard, Brian Compton and Anthony Campbell. And we were just, I was just out of school, and we started a band, and we played in all the local pubs in the area and all the social clubs in South Wales.
So what year was this? What were we thinking?
Oh my God, this is, let's have a look. You're talking about 70s, you know,
So
early 70s.
You hairy with flares? What was going on?
No, I was quite plain, boring type until I went on my first tour with the band to Germany, and we did all the American bases. And we were playing like 4 hours a night, 6 nights a week.
4 hours a night?
4 hours a night. Like five 45-minute sets.
Wow.
That was the requirement, and we'd also have to travel virtually between 700 and 1,000 kilometers every night, 400 there, 400 back. What? So we were based in one part of Germany, and we just play all the different bases and come back every night.
They didn't put you up for the night, though?
Yeah, we had a base in a flat in Wiesbaden, but we always travelled back. On the same night, you know. Wow. So after the 5-hour set, we'd have a 400-mile journey, and that went on for months. You know. So it was a good.
Set? Or did you develop?
Yeah, same set, and just a different bass every night. So that was a good experience, I can tell you.
So
you
that
know.
got you solid.
Yeah.
And what about as a band? Did you? I mean, you end up killing each other, living together, driving together.
No, amazingly enough, it's funny. We weren't earning that much, well, nothing at all virtually, especially when you get mishaps like van breakdowns. Then you have to, next month's fee is covered in that. You know what I mean? So we were living on basics. In fact, we'd get drunk more than often because wine was cheaper than food.
And it's got loads of calories, isn't it?
Yeah. So, and we were young, you know. So, yeah, you know, there was a lot of drinking going on. But
and what sort of wage were you on then?
we were on £1,000 a month for the whole band.
Ah.
Yeah.
And petrol?
No, we had to pay our own. That's including petrol and food. You know, the accommodation was free, but yeah.
So could you see that as an apprenticeship, maybe?
Oh God, yeah. But I mean, I left my job to actually go on tour. I was a dock porter, kind of leap of faith. Do you know what I mean?
Would your parents?
But most stupidity more than anything, and ignorance, and enthusiasm. You know?
You go a long way with enthusiasm.
Yeah, but also I hated my job. I hated just having to work all day. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? It was good money, but I was too tired to spend it. You know, so I thought, well, I'll go on tour and see how it goes. And it couldn't have went worse. but I really, we really enjoyed it. And it was an experience. And from that point, it was like no return.
No.
You know, but I just head down.
So you moved from Germany. I mean, you went on and conquered the world, really, didn't you?
Well, I came back from Germany, and in the year 79, 80, we formed a band with. It was me, Pino Palladino, Richard Dunn, Antonio Torria. We formed a fusion band, and we were playing like all the latest fusion albums, like Billy Cobham, Jeff Lorber, all these kind of new fusion artists, and we'd play.
Time Out, was it?
No, it was The Outsiders, they were called.
Okay.
And we'd rehearse in my bedroom like an hour before. We'd rehearse 2 or 3 numbers, then we'd go to the paddle steamer, which was like 100 yards up the road, set up and start playing these numbers, you know. And there'd be like an old lady drinking half a pint of moccasins in one corner, and an old Somali having a drink in another corner, and that was it. There was like 2 or 3 people in there. But it was great for us because, you know, we just kind of learning our art, and we had no audience, so it was no pressure. We're doing it every Sunday in the paddle steamer, Sunday afternoon, 2 o'clock till 4. And then after about 2 months, this old lady and this old Somali became 10 people, 20 people, and 40 people, 100 people. After 3 or 4 months, there was 300 people packed, right, from all over Cardiff, coming to see us play. And, you know, it was a real gradual process. But before long, we were like, you know, the main attraction in Cardiff.
Yeah, and was this when you were working in the docks at the same time?
Just after I finished working with Messiah, this band, I went on the German bases.
Oh, actually, okay. So you were on form. You knew what was.
Oh
needed
yeah, and like that was the beginning of like where we really wanted to kind of develop our abilities, you know. So there was a lot of practice going on and studying, and because we were playing this music, which was technically beyond our capabilities, really.
But you didn't care.
No, because it was all about the vibe, you know, and the people were feeding off this music, which was quite a new brand of music too, and quite adventurous and interesting, you know.
Fresh.
And that went on for about 6 months. It was just amazing.
That was a nice moment. That's been great to catch that.
Yeah. I mean, apparently there are a couple of cassettes around.
Have you ever heard? That'd be great to listen to. That'd be great to hear them.
Oh yeah, it would be. Yeah.
And what about the old scenes? I mean, when I first came down to Cardiff, which was like 1981, 82, we had a really vibrant music scene down this side, down in Butetown as it was then.
Yeah.
With the Casa.
Oh, the Casablanca.
So talk to us about some of the things that you used to go up to.
Yeah, the Casablanca. I was more like a fan of the club and the music in the club more than actually performing in the club. Do you know what I mean? At my stage of my career.
Right. Yeah.
So I played a few gigs there, but not very much. But it was a big part of my my musical education.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, because of what you heard and.
Because of what I heard, and there was bands there every night, you know, and lots of different musics and cultures and styles. You know.
You could say it was almost healthier then than it was sort of say in the 90s.
Definitely.
There were more venues and there was more variety then.
Yeah, it was. It was a massive place for everybody, the Casablanca. Yeah, it was great experience.
Big shout out to the Casa crew.
Yeah.
Who's still here. So tell me also about the local musicians, local carnivals, what sort of events were going on there?
Okay, every summer they'd have this carnival, and that was the same thing. That started off really small, like 2 or 3 bands playing on a piece of, you know, turf, you know what I mean, with 2 little speakers. And that every year, the same thing happened with that. It just developed. There were more bands, more people, stalls, food stalls, and eventually that grew to, like, I don't know, there might have been about 10,000 people at one point going to that, you know, from all over Wales.
It was a big thing, wasn't it? The Butetown
massive.
Carnival.
Yeah, and that was virtually outside my backyard. My house was there, and the grass the Buttown Park was
Yeah.
just behind it, like, you know.
Because it was a contender for Notting Hill. I mean, it was a choice. Because when I first
Oh,
came down, I
man.
thought, am I going back to London and go to Notting Hill? No, I'm going to stay down at Buttown. And
Oh, it was just amazing, yeah. And the atmosphere was just incredible, like, you know. And like a cross section of people, you know.
Which has always been the beauty of Cardiff, isn't it? That's
Yeah,
what's,
yeah.
you know, that's what's kept so
Yeah,
many
no,
people here.
it was just a fantastic time, you know.
And then Carnival got sidetracked a little bit, and it's coming again. Last few years, it's come back.
Yeah.
We're noticing an increase now, aren't we? It's just
Yeah, I
getting-
don't know what happened, but it kind of eventually fizzled out, you know. And
I think they went off. Yeah, different people started organising it. Now that's back in the hands of the capable Keith.
But yeah, hopefully it will happen again, you know. But you know, it won't happen overnight. It'll be a gradual process. Do you know what I mean? I guess, you know. And of course, the Buttown, the docks has changed dramatically now, you know.
So look, we're here and now. Do you want to just fill this space with some of your drumming?
Okay.
Do that for us.
In 1981, I moved to London. Oh, actually, I'm skipping something, actually. Before I moved to London, I had a residency in Newport for about 3 years, from 78, 79, 80, with a singer named Tony Attoria. I don't know if you're familiar with Tony Attoria.
Yeah.
He had a hit single, top 20, called a song called "I Can Prove It," and we were the local resident band in Newport. And then he went on to have a hit, and then we did a few tours with that.
So you got a taste of sweetness then.
Yeah, but it wasn't massive sweetness. Do you know what I mean? It was just a kind of just on the outskirts, you know, not quite big time.
Yeah,
You know, but
it's enough, I guess. That, you know, you're not going to go give up and go back to working in the docks.
exactly.
There's enough to think, yes, I could do this.
And then I moved to London after that, and I didn't do anything for 3 years in London.
Really?
Yeah, I just could. I was looking at all the papers and adverts,
rough.
and it was hard to really get my foot in, until one day I'd seen this advert saying drummer required for West End musical, and it was a New Orleans American musical, and they needed a black drummer to play in this New Orleans style, because all the American musicians had to go back to America after a year because of an MU thing. So they had to replace everybody with British musicians, preferably black because of the style.
Is it on stage?
Yeah, on stage, yeah. So
You're back home then?
I got the job, and unbelievably, and it was like totally different style. It was like all stuff like that, you
Yeah.
know. And I had to learn the whole different style.
Because
But
you didn't know that. You had to learn that,
I
did
had to
you?
learn it. Yeah, they give me all these records to study. And yeah, I got the job, and I did that for 2 years. And that was like, I was on 1981. I was on my first massive, like I was on £250 a week in 1981.
Wow, after
You know?
£1,000 a month between four of you in...
Yeah, yeah. So that was
Oh, the
great,
joy,
you know.
yeah.
It was hard work. It was like six nights a week, 2 shows on Saturdays.
I bet you
or
had a ball,
Fridays.
though, didn't you? It must have been great. You must have met folks.
Yeah, it was a real experience, and it was there was 4 dancers out front. There was 3 women singers, and a male singer, and his name is Clark Peters, and he went on to be a famous actor in a detective series called The Wire. And I remember we got on really well, like,
yeah.
you know, and he looked after me, and yeah, it was great to see him go on to do something amazing, like, you know.
So 3 years in London, then that came along.
Yeah. So I did that for 2 years. Eventually,
Right, yeah.
the
So you
West,
got a bit of cash in your pockets. And
Yeah, I got my
established
cash.
yourself.
and I used to go to Ronnie Scott's, was round the corner from the theatre, and I used to go virtually every night after the show, my show, and go watch like all these jazzes. And it was, if you had an MU card, you can get in for £2 and watch all the world jazzes.
That's the stuff of novels, isn't it? The guy's finishing his shift in the theatre, then he goes to the jazz club afterwards and picks up his licks. And
So I did that, yeah, for virtually 2 years, you know. So that was a good experience for me as well, like, you know, and enlightened me a lot, you know. So eventually, the West End musical run its course, and we went on tour then, around UK, touring the theatrical show. That went for about a year. And then my next gig was with Pino, because I was sharing a flat with Pino in London.
oh, right, you didn't
Pino
mention
Palladino.
that. So you were both yours
Yeah,
yourselves up to London.
yeah. So I did some work with Pino with a band called Squeeze.
Yeah, Glenn
And then
Tilbrook.
that kind of didn't go on for very long. And then Pino went on to do Paul Young,
Yeah.
and he recorded a single, and there was a
Bye.
bass solo in it, and that was it. He just took
That's all it
off,
takes, isn't it? Yeah.
and kind of, you know, left me behind. It was like, oh yeah, so I'll see you later, Pete.
So you had a lot of
Yeah.
spare room in the flat, did you?
Yeah, so you know, obviously I had to find my own way, but eventually I started working with different musicians in London, and ended up working with John Martyn for 25 years.
25.
Yeah,
The best years, I imagine, was it? From
yeah, musically the best years. Yeah, definitely. You know.
Wow, that's the thing. It's quite a far cry from the background that you came from of calypso or the jazz and that sort of thing. But you must have brought something to his music that he liked.
Yeah, because I mean, John Martyn was musically he was really kind of across the board. Even though he was like a folk artist, he kind of moved on to fusion, and he was really into his rhythmic stuff as well, like, you know, and he'd let you express you know, your style into his music, you know.
Lovely.
Yeah, so it was just fantastic fun.
Because they're great, sort of very soul-y, hearty songs, and it's lovely for
Yeah,
you to be able
yeah,
to,
exactly. Yeah, yeah,
for a drummer to be able to do that rather than just hold down a pattern, to be able to express
Yeah,
yourself a little.
yeah.
So, wow, did you play with John Martyn for 25 years? And was that, did you tour all over with him?
Yeah, I did Europe, UK, even went to Japan once with him, you know, and yeah, we do about like 2 tours a year, you know. But in between that, I would do other things as well, like other you know. So it was all about just finding a nice balance, do you know what I mean, where you could work as much as you can, you know.
I still love it. That's the sign of the professional, is that, you know, he's working. He's not playing, you're working.
Yeah,
You know, that's how
yeah.
you've taken it, isn't it, always? It's been
Yeah, exactly.
as a job. Who have you played with then, Arran?
Okay, let's have a look. My first big break was John Martyn, and then after John Martyn, it was Gerry Rafferty. I did 2 albums and a tour with Gerry.
Wow.
After Gerry, actually from Gerry, I did the Proclaimers 2 hit singles.
What you played on then?
Yeah, I actually played on the 2 hit singles, 500 Miles and Letter to America.
Wow.
Simply because Gerry Rafferty was the producer.
Oh, well, there's a pub quiz answer there.
Yeah, so he produced those 2 singles, and because I was working with Gerry, he got me in for the session, So after Gerry, there was a girl singer named Julia Fordham who had a top 20 hit in the 80s. So I did numerous tours with Julia.
What was that? Can you remember what it was?
Sorry?
Can you remember what the single was, what the hit was?
Where Does the Time Go
Okay.
was one of the singles.
Yeah.
It was she was a kind of balladeer, she was,
Right.
And she was also billed as woman of the 80s.
I think you say Builders Tea.
Yeah, through working with Gerry Rafferty, I got a gig with the Clanads bunch.
Okay. Yeah.
I did 1 album with them and did like 2 world tours with Clanad.
Wow. So did you chuck many televisions out the window with that one?
No, they weren't that type of group. They were quite respectable. Then I did an album with Alison Moyet.
Lovely.
Did a European tour with Alison, American tour with Andy Summers. That was like 6 weeks tour.
That must have been fun.
That was.
He's a good guitarist. He's really rhythmic, isn't he?
Yeah, fantastic. It was interesting tour actually. Musically, it was quite challenging because he wasn't doing like police stuff. He was doing more his own stuff.
So out of the John Martyn gig, it just mushroomed. Just
Yeah,
so much
basically,
came from that.
yeah.
And did you stay in London, or when did you come back to Cardiff?
I moved in '81, and I stayed there till the '90. First of all, I was commuting back and forth on the weekends. But once I got established, I was able to move down to Cardiff, and I didn't have to kind of hang out in London anymore.
So why did you want to come back to Cardiff?
Oh, I mean, relationships was the main reason.
Yeah.
And which produced my daughter, my one and only offspring, my daughter Shakira.
Beautiful dancer.
Yeah. So and my family basically, my parents, and
So all that time when you were up in London, were you conscious that you'd probably come back? Did you remain a Cardiff man, or were you looking to be and go somewhere else? Or
I was looking to go somewhere else. My focus was just to kind of get on and develop, basically. So
Did you maintain like your Butetown Tiger Bay Docks identity? Was that something you've taken with you all along? And is it something that you've sort of cherished?
Yeah, totally. It was a great grounding for me, coming from the docks. I was humble, by it. I was able to be humble because of my background. I didn't take anything for granted. Mm-hmm. I was respectful, and I just worked hard. That was my work ethic was really good.
Isn't it lovely? That's not something you can buy. Like humility, you can't buy it, can you?
No. But I mean, the main thing is what drove me was the sheer love for music. That kind of gets you through a lot of hard times. Do you know what I mean? Because you're committed. It's all about being committed to what you want to actually play and do and work.
So no regrets.
No, but none whatsoever. The best thing I ever did, was leave my job.
Don't do that, kids. Unless you're certain.
Yeah. No. It's it was definitely a big risk, but I just took the risk. I think you should, because you can always go back, to what you did before, but you can never, go to where you might have been. Do you know what I mean? If you initially took the move,
Yeah.
So I think it's quite important to take risks, basically.
You're right. Yeah. Because like regrets are like shadows, aren't they? You can't get rid of them. You carry them. They just follow you wherever you go.
Totally.
Yeah. So what about the music scene in Wales? Did you find yourself? Was it hard to go from doing all the world tours and everything to come back and then start playing or trying to find gigs locally, or did you what?
Yeah, I kind of I did. I remember playing a residency when I did come back in a club called the Tzuke Club, which I'm sure you're familiar with.
So I think it's the first time I've probably got to play with you, actually.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean that was the main live venue in Cardiff, through '90s onwards type of thing. So that kept me going quite a lot in the Cardiff scene, because I mean the music scene in Cardiff is not prolific as far as kind of earning a living, and making a respectable wage. It's quite difficult to survive. So I needed, to work outside to sustain my career. I don't think I could have survived professionally if I just stayed in Cardiff.
Right. So during that time you were travelling off doing gigs with other bands.
Yeah, totally.
So
I mean,
what was going on?
it'd be like a tour, like a 2-month tour. Then you come home for a month or two.
And who was that with then? Do you think?
Oh, I was mainly with John Martyn. Because it's like quite a large proportion of my life.
That's great. What a perfect mix. You're living with your daughter and your life in Cardiff, and then going off and playing with one of the world's greatest ever.
Yeah.
Hearty, soully, folky singer.
Yeah.
Who did you play within the Welsh language music? Do you speak Welsh?
No, I don't. But my first artist was Gerry Rafferty, who even though he was Welsh, he was into the reggae music scene.
Yeah.
So it was a natural progression for me to get involved. In the Welsh music scene because of the style.
Good for him, good for you.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. And I did that for years and years. Great experience with Gerry. We used to go up to North Wales in a studio called Sign Studios, and we'd be there for like a week or 2 weeks, the whole band, just living there, eating there, playing there. And it was fantastic,
Because you've lived to see the Welsh music scene grow and become an incredible thing. I mean, some amazing music comes out of this.
Yeah,
this land,
yeah, brilliant.
in both languages, of course.
Yeah.
And in later years, what's been keeping you going for the past 10 years or so?
Okay, let's have a look. So, John Martyn, he passed away about 12 years ago. And suddenly I was like free to do other things. And John Martyn's management was Chas Cole Music Productions, and he had tribute bands, and this one tribute band was called Australian Pink Floyd. They do all Pink Floyd music, but they were an Australian band, and they came to UK, and I started doing like steps for them, for their drummer occasionally. Well, they go to America for a month, and I do a tour with them.
Wow.
And then eventually they broke up and formed another tribute band, Pink Floyd tribute band called Brit Floyd. And that was about 10 years ago. And for the last 10 years, I've been doing world tours with this tribute band. Yeah. I'm like 6 months of the year.
Wow.
Like 4 months in America,
God, you must have been everywhere, all over the
2
States.
months in Europe, Russia, Yugoslavia, the Far Eastern countries.
What a joy.
Yeah, and I've been doing that for the last 10 years. And it's it's really hard work, but you're playing like 4 or 5 nights a week, and you're doing 3-hour sets, and it's a huge production, and you're playing like places like this.
Yeah.
It's a massive light show, it's a massive projection show. Yeah, it's a good earner, and it's a good for me at my stage. I'm like 65 next month, so for my stage of the career, it's great, because the work is so prolific,
And you get everything carried there. You don't have to.
Oh yeah, everything's.
It's not like Germany where you're doing 4-hour sets
No,
and you're driving
no,
there.
I don't lift.
Same work ethic though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which helps, Yeah.
And is that note perfect? Is it the same thing every night, or is there room for expansion?
It's the same thing every night. I mean,
How do you feel about
every
that?
year that they'll do a different album of a different period of Pink Floyd's music. So we'll learn an album every year. I mean, we because I've been doing it so long now, we've done all the albums.
You're releasing new albums of your own.
Yeah. So each year we do a different album, like Dark Side of the Moon, or
I've got to
Animals.
ask, have you got a favourite track?
Yeah, Time,
Yeah.
where there's a
You
big.
do it.
Well, it's actually it's done on rototoms.
Okay,
You
yeah.
know.
I know the one you mean.
Yeah,
I know the one yeah.
and it goes on for about 5 minutes, but it's a real big part of the show, like you know.
Yeah.
So everything comes down on me, the lights, I'm focused, and I just perform this every night. Yeah, so that's one of my, Dark Side of the Moon was the album was a massive influence on me when that came out. I mean, I wasn't really naturally drawn to
No.
that type of music, but that album it touched a lot of people.
That's amazing. I mean, it hit some fairly big subjects as well, didn't it, I suppose?
Oh, politically, yeah, they're massive. I mean, that's not really what I was naturally drawn to. I was drawn to the melodic side, but it's a very important part of their music. That's why when we go to like East and Russia and all those places, people really identify it because of the struggles, all of the different political nations, all the struggles. They address them in their songs, Pink Floyd, They kind of, it's like a flag for the people,
Wow,
Yeah, so
it's
it's amazing how how popular their music is.
Watching you just now when you're talking about playing in Time, you still love playing, don't you? You can see that, and obviously that buzz of lights on, you're playing, and you're just doing what you do so well.
Yeah.
No, you never. Yeah, do you think you don't really ever get old when you play music? I've got a theory that as long as you're playing music or dancing, you don't age.
Yeah,
Look
totally.
at you now. You're 63. Did you say
64, 65 next month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking well, looking good, and you've done what a fantastic life in rhythm you've had. I've got to say.
Yeah, I don't regret a thing. I'm quite fortunate. I see myself.
Yeah. Count our blessings.